From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has opened a new segment of the Cavite-Laguna Expressway or CALAX, promising faster travel and better connectivity across South Luzon. The President led the inauguration of CALAX Subsection 3 on Monday, a 7.88-kilometer stretch that now extends the expressway to the Governor's Drive interchange in General Trias, Cavite. The new link cuts travel time between Binyan in Laguna Province and General Trias to about 26 minutes, down from roughly an hour. President Marcos noted that the project faced years of delays due to right-of-way issues. The chief executive also announced a one-month toll-free period starting 12 midnight.
Ito, bubuksan natin itong section which is about 4.5 kilometers. Yung dating kalahating oras na biyahe ay magiging 5 minutes na lang, 6 minutes. Kaya malaking bagay ito. At hindi lang kasi mabibilisan, ay dahil ma-relieve din ang traffic. At tinitignan namin doon sa mapa ay yung inaantay natin ng matagal na galing dito sa Silang hanggang Kawit na. Yung dati mga 2 oras, magiging kalahating oras, 45 minutes na lang. At ulit, kahit na nagtatrabaho ka sa Taguig, pwede kang nakatira dito sa Cavite. Kaya maganda na matapos na natin ito. This is 10 years in the making. At pahirapan kasi, as usual, yung nagiging problema natin sa lahat ng construction ng mga kalsada, yung right of way. Kaya dinahan-dahan. The then Governor John Vic was one of the main movers of all of this. Kaya mabuti naman at ngayon nabubuksan na natin. I can announce na mabuksan ito starting 12 midnight tonight and for 1 month, walang muna toll. So, yung ating mga kababayan, gamitin po ninyo, makita ninyo, maramdaman ninyo na ang malaking ginhawa na dinadala ng mga ganitong malalaking project. Ay nagpapasalamat tayo sa MVP Group at sa lahat ng mga tumulong. At I'm sure mararamdaman nga natin ang magiging mas mabilis at mas maginhawa na pagbiyahe na papasok sa Metro Manila.
Serve around 6,000 additional motorists daily, offering an alternative route that avoids heavily congested local roads in Cavite. With this opening, CALAX now has 26 kilometers operational, stretching from Mamplasan in Binyan. Once fully completed, the 44.6-kilometer expressway will connect Cavitex to SLEX, forming a major transport corridor in the region. President Marcos thanked private sector partners, including the Metro Pacific Group, for supporting the project, saying motorists will soon feel faster and more convenient travel across South Luzon.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday urged beneficiaries of the Presidential Scholars Program to study hard and prepare to take on the country's future, as he reaffirmed the government's commitment to expanding access to education. Speaking before scholars during an orientation in General Trias City, Cavite, the president described education as a form of lasting wealth that empowers young Filipinos to uplift themselves, their families, and their communities. President Marcos highlighted the rollout of the Presidential Scholars Program, funded through barangay or village-level allocations. Each barangay receives 200,000 pesos with 100,000 dedicated to scholarships. Each scholar is allotted 20,000 pesos in assistance. The initiative is expected to support more than 200,000 students nationwide, or roughly 5 scholars per barangay across over 42,000 barangays. In General Trias alone, 33 barangays will receive funding supporting 165 scholars. The chief executive told students that the country will rely on them in the years ahead.
Ito ang aming bagong programa para matulungan kayong mga estudyante, lalong-lalo na dinadaan namin ng pondo sa barangay. Tigda 200 din, mamaya ipapaliwanag ko pati. Mamaya ay 200,000 kada barangay, 100,000 noon gagamitin para sa inyo. Patigti 20,000 ang bawat presidential scholar. So bawat barangay makakatulong tayo ng 5 scholar, which will with approximately 42,000 barangays in the Philippines, hanggang lampas-lampas na ng 200,000 ang magiging presidential scholar. Kaya napaka-importante na programa ito para sa akin at sa lahat ng pamahalaan, dahil sa aming palagay talagang kahit lahat ng mga programa na ginagawa ng government, sa local, sa national, ay pagka hindi maganda ang training ang ating mga kabataan, ay hindi rin magiging successful, hindi rin magiging matagumpay yung ating mga ginagawa. Kaya kailangan mag-aral kayo na mabuti, at lagi kong ang sinasabi at idinidiin sa ating mga scholar, mag-aral kayo mabuti, masipag kayo mag-aral, dahil ang edukasyon, ang magandang edukasyon ay isang napakalaking kayamanan na dala-dala na ninyo. At kahit ano pang mangyari sa buhay ninyo, hindi ito pwedeng kunin sa inyo, hindi ito pwedeng agawin sa inyo, hindi ito pwedeng nakawin sa inyo. At ito ay tutulong sa inyo para tulungan ang inyong sarili, ang inyong mga pamilya, magiging pamilya, and of course also your community. So good luck, work hard, and the government is here to support you.
That was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. visited General Trias City, Cavite to lead the rollout of government assistance and outlining plans to boost healthcare access in the province through a new Philippine General Hospital or PGH facility. Speaking at the Bawat Bayan Makikinabang event, the president said financial aid and rice support are being deployed nationwide to help families cope with rising fuel and commodity prices. Under the program, local governments receive allocations from the Local Government Support Fund or LGSF with the requirement to distribute rice to qualified residents. President Marcos said beneficiaries will receive 10 kilograms of rice every 2 months for a total of 6 cycles a year, with local government units or LGUs identifying the recipients. The president also highlighted the Socio-Civic Projects Fund or SCPF, which provides 200,000 pesos per barangay or village, half of which will go to scholarships under the Presidential Scholars Program. He said the initiative is designed to deliver immediate relief while investing in long-term support through education. President Marcos further announced that the national government is preparing to build a new PGH facility in Carmona, Cavite, an expansion expected to improve access to public health care in one of the country's fastest-growing provinces. Citing information from Interior Secretary John Vic Rimulya, he said groundbreaking is targeted within May. The proposed hospital will have around 200 beds and is expected to serve residents of Cavite and neighboring areas.
Ang ginawa po namin ay lahat ng probinsya, lahat ng lungsod, lahat ng mga bayan ay kukuha po tayo dun sa pondong yan at ipinamimigay natin sa ating mga local government officials. Kasama doon sa programang yon, hindi lang po, siyempre yung pondo ibinababa natin sa local government officials, ngunit meron din kaming counting condition na kailangan kasama doon ang pagbigay ng mga 10 kilo na sako ng bigas sa mga lahat na nangangailangan. At kailangan po niyo malaman, hindi lang po minsanan ito. Itong 10 kilo na bigas ay magbibigay kami 6 na beses kada taon. Bawat 2 buwan may 10 kilo ng bigas para naman matiyak natin ang food supply ng ating mga kababayan na nangangailangan ng tulong. Yan po ang gamit namin dito sa LGSF. At yung isa pang programa, yung nanggaling naman sa ibang pondo, Socio-Civic Program Fund, SCPF. Ito po ay ginamit naman namin para bigay sa mga barangay. At yung binibigay po natin, kagaya na napaliwanag, yung pong checking binigay ko sa ating ABC at saka kay Mayor, yan po ay para sa bawat barangay, makapagbigay po tayo ng 200 piso. 200,000 piso. Ang 200,000 piso na yon, meron kaming hinihingi sa mga barangay official na kalahati nun, 100,000 piso doon sa barangay ay ibigay sa mga gagawing presidential scholar. Tigda 20,000 piso ang bigay sa bawat scholar, kaya't bawat barangay magkakaroon tayo ng 5 presidential scholar. Ato, meron din binulong sa atin si SILG John Vic, na bukod pa rito, meron tayong bubuksan na branch ng PGH na ilang beds ito? 200 beds. Meron tayong mag-groundbreaking daw kami. Itong Mayo na ito, isang PGH na ospital sa Carmona.
Was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. assured the public on Monday that government agencies are all systems go in delivering assistance to residents affected by ashfall from Mayon volcano in Albay. In an ambush interview during the opening of Cavite-Laguna Expressway or CALAX subsection 3 in Cavite, the president said he has already received situation reports from national agencies deployed to the Bicol region after Mayon began spewing ash on Saturday. President Marcos emphasized that the government's primary focus is public health, given the risk posed by ash and fumes. The Department of Health, or DOH, has deployed personnel to distribute face masks and medicines to protect residents from harmful emissions. The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, has been ordered to clear major roads covered by thick ashfall to ensure that key routes remain passable. Residents inside the danger zone have been successfully evacuated to safer areas. The chief executive said he has been in direct communication with the Albay governor, who reported that the national government support remains sufficient for ongoing response operations. while acknowledging that Albay residents are familiar with Mayon's periodic unrest. The president stressed that complacency is not an option, especially with ashfall affecting populated areas. The government is now working to quickly reopen all major thoroughfares around the volcano to ensure smooth entry of supplies and allow residents to move out if necessary. Response and monitoring efforts continue as authorities keep watch over Mayon's activity and its potential impact on surrounding communities. Mayon volcano remains under Alert Level 3, with dozens of volcanic earthquakes and tremors recorded in recent days. Residents have been urged to stay indoors, wear protective masks, and follow advisories from local government units as response and recovery efforts continue.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, reported that around 1,362 families remain in evacuation centers as ashfall and continued unrest from Mayon volcano forced communities to seek temporary shelter. The figure represents nearly 5,000 individuals currently staying across 12 evacuation centers in Albay. Another 26 families are temporarily staying with relatives as conditions around the volcano remain unstable. The DSWD said evacuees continue to receive support services inside the shelters. 666 children have been assisted in child-friendly spaces. 24 women have received help in women-friendly spaces, and 276 individuals have undergone psychosocial first aid to help them cope with stress and displacement. Overall, more than 68,000 families have been affected by Mayon's activity as of May 4th, based on consolidated government data. Relief operations remain ongoing. The DSWD reported that assistance has already reached 122 million pesos, including family food packs and other essential supplies for displaced and affected communities, particularly those forced to evacuate from high-risk zones. Authorities continue to monitor the situation as response and recovery efforts expand across impacted areas.
Dateline Malacañang.
In the meantime, the Department of Agriculture, or DA, said assistance is fully in place for farmers affected by the renewed activity of Mayon volcano as ashfall continues to damage crops and disrupt livelihoods in Albay. According to the DA, more than 400 million pesos worth of pre-positioned agricultural inputs are ready for distribution. These include rice, corn, and high-value crop seeds, along with fertilizers and other production support to help farmers recover once conditions stabilize. The agency has also prepared over 100,000 pesos worth of medicines and biologics for livestock and poultry, aiming to prevent disease outbreaks and protect remaining farm animals exposed to ash and fumes. Financial support mechanisms are likewise on standby. Funds for crop insurance and credit assistance are available through the Philippine Crop Insurance Corporation, or PCIC, and the Agricultural Credit Policy Council, or ACPC, to help affected farmers rebuild their operations and secure working capital. At the same time, the DA is closely monitoring the movement and prices of agricultural commodities to ensure that the volcanic activity does not trigger sudden spikes in market prices, especially for staple goods. Initial assessments show that more than 60 farmers have already suffered losses due to ashfall damage, with the number expected to rise as field validation continues. The DA said it remains on heightened alert, coordinating with local governments and disaster response teams to ensure that assistance reaches affected communities quickly and that agricultural disruptions are kept to a minimum.
Dateline Malacañang.
Top officials of the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, or BJMP, paid a courtesy call on President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. at Malacañang Palace on Monday, highlighting the administration's push to strengthen leadership and professionalism within the country's jail system. President Marcos welcomed BJMP Chief Director Ruel Rivera along with 13 newly promoted chief superintendents, holding a brief closed-door meeting to discuss ongoing reforms and operational priorities within the Bureau. The newly promoted senior officials are Leonalyn Oloan, Clarence Mayangao, Farida Ali, Laurentina Menengiao, Roy Valenzuela, Annalisa Bides, Ronaldo Senok, Kenneth Biding, Elena Rocamora, Ferdinand Pontilio, Rufino Santiago Jr., Lorelina Mina, and Erwin Kenny Ronquillo. Director Rivera, who has led the BJMP since his appointment on June 25, 2023, joined the President in recognizing the role of the newly promoted officers in improving jail operations, personnel management, and inmate welfare across the country. The courtesy visit also underscored the administration's continuing support for capacity building, leadership development, and institutional strengthening within the BJMP, an agency created under Republic Act 6975 on January 2, 1991, to oversee the safekeeping and rehabilitation of persons deprived of liberty in city, municipal, and district jails. The meeting reaffirmed the government's commitment to professionalizing the jail service and ensuring that the Bureau's leadership remains equipped to handle evolving security and rehabilitation challenges nationwide.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, is now on heightened monitoring following the magnitude 6 earthquake that struck eastern Samar, as agencies begin assessing possible damage across affected areas. The council said it is still awaiting consolidated reports from regional and local disaster offices, but no casualties have been recorded so far based on initial information. Assessment teams from regional and municipal DRRM offices have already been deployed to check structures, roads, bridges, and lifelines in communities that felt the tremor. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology, or PHIVOLCS, earlier confirmed that the magnitude 6 quake hit San Julian, eastern Samar at 2:09 on Monday afternoon. The quake was tectonic in origin. PHIVOLCS also reported intensity 5 shaking in Tacloban City, Leyte Province, strong enough to be felt indoors and potentially cause minor damage to vulnerable structures. Authorities continue to remind residents to stay alert for aftershocks and to follow safety advisories as inspections and monitoring efforts remain underway.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.